He is Dr. Parris Lyew-Ayee Jr., and he is the director of the Mona Geoinformatics Institute at the University of the West Indies Mona campus, one of the most dynamic campus entities, engaged in numerous practical activities ranging from crime and security, road safety, public health, natural hazards and the environment, business development, and software engineering. He also serves on many private and public sector boards, including as chairman of the Water Resources Authority and the National Works Agency. He also sits on the parent board of the Grace Kennedy Group, one of Jamaica's largest companies with almost 3,000 employees and operations in over a dozen countries, including the United States of America, the UK, and Canada, as well as two of its subsidiaries, Grace Foods and Hilo Food Stores, and its audit and corporate governance committees. He also serves on the boards of a media company, a real estate development firm, and a social development and services organization. He previously served on the board of the National Housing Trust, including its technical committee, and as the chairman of its Human Resources and Policy Committee, as well as the boards of the Jamaica National General Insurance Company, previously known as NEM Insurance, and the Jamaica Automobile Association. He was also previously the head of Department of Geography and Geology at the University of the West Indies. He's a former government Jamaica exhibition scholar and a UK Commonwealth scholar. He holds a Doctor of Philosophy degree in geography from the University of Oxford and a Bachelor of Science degree in Earth Sciences with first-class honors from the UWI. In 2014, he was selected as an Eisenhower Fellow, joining a highly select group of international leaders from around the world to tour leading organizations and individuals in the United States and develop global leadership skills and networks. He toured, among other places, Silicon Valley, Harvard University, the United States Air Force Academy, the multiple law enforcement and Fortune 500 companies. He was the first Jamaican or Caribbean national, for that matter, to have been selected in 14 years. And last night he reminded me that about 10 years ago, while I was Minister of Culture, I presented to him one of Jamaica's honors, the Musgrave Medal. I think he was the youngest recipient of that medal. It is my great pleasure to invite Dr. Parris Lyew-Ayee to address us.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Your Royal Highness, the Princess Royal, President of the Caribbean Canada Emerging Leaders Dialogues, Your Excellency Sir Patrick Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, Your Excellency Alun Asambo, High Commissioner to the UK and CCELD 2015 Co-Chair, and Mr. Bruce Bowen, Co-Chair CCELD 2015, Ms. Jackie Sharp, CEO of Scotiabank Jamaica. I can't go anywhere without recognizing Sir Ken Hall, my mentor, my first employer. He's responsible for everything good and bad that has happened to me over the last several years. Mrs. Lisa Bell, and members of the managing and organizing teams of CCELD, friends and colleagues, especially the 2015 CCELD cohort. Where are you guys? Oh, all over the place. Excellent. And I also want to recognize the CCELD alumni who've taken the time to be with us this afternoon. Shouting out Nadia Figueroa, MP Price, and the rest of you guys in the room this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. About 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to meet the Princess Royal at a reception recognizing Prime Minister's Youth Awardees, and all of us were in the receiving line. 7 of those ahead of me were either lawyers or wanted to be lawyers. Most of them are women. Your Highness, when you came to me, you said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I was a little scientist." And you said, "Thank God, not another lawyer." But it's what you said next that stuck to me. Ma'am, you told me to do great things. And it haunted me, it stuck with me. Since then, everything I've done is just good enough. And I have a photograph of that moment in my office and at my home to remind me, is this good enough? You were pointing at me like this, and it's stuck with me. But I'm not ashamed to say I'm a royalist. I was in the crowd outside Buckingham Palace for Her Majesty's Golden Jubilee in 2002 with my Union Jack flag on one side and my Jamaica flag on the other, waving like a kid. And as a Commonwealth scholar at Oxford, I really appreciated what the Commonwealth represents, what it's done for me, what it's done for us as a country and as a region. I'm not joking when I say, or with any kind of irony, you know, God save the Queen, and so on. The CCELD is a continuation, an extension of that very rich legacy and commitment to service by the royal family to its former colonies, to its existing colonies. And I really want to say thank you very much for that, to you and to the royal family for all you've done and continue to do for us. Give them a round of applause, please. It is a recognition and investment in the future. Not just future leaders, because some of us are already leaders. It's not just the Canada or the Caribbean region either. It's about global leaders. Participants here represent 15 countries with backgrounds ranging from the public sector, private sector, trade union, civil society, and so on. 34 women, 26 men. Step up, guys. 60 people from all over space and society, united this year under your theme, Leading Through Innovation and Transformation. Now we're talking my language, Prof. You touch on themes ranging from cultural intelligence, concepts of the global and the local, on ethics and governance. You talk about integrating technology, collaborative leadership, and dealing with failures. These are deep. These go beyond the superficial concepts and attitudes about leadership. In a world of 24-hour news cycles, 140 characters, and 6-second vines, the world is screaming for order in all that chaos. It's hard to get to the meat of something or for something to take hold when everything is about instant gratification. Too often, the revolution is romanticized. You look at the Arab Spring, born of technology. But true change, real change, is slower. It's evolutionary. It takes patience, and to guide and steer this process in an orderly fashion requires leadership. And not just the kind of big-mouth, know-it-all leadership that's very common in the developing world and on Fox News. It takes understanding and sensitivity to different perspectives, but most importantly, it takes the courage to do the right thing. On the aspect of cultural intelligence, my mother is from Singapore, and I was raised with traditional Chinese values and a tiger mom all ever present. I had my steady diet of brain-rotting American cable TV. I went to a school in downtown Kingston. I hung out with crazy Trinis at UWI. And I went to do postgrad in the UK. There were different cultural influences around me all the time. And they're around all of us all the time. We can choose to take the best of each of these influences and make them uniquely ours. And sometimes the not-so-best influences. When people ask me what was my inspiration for developing the first GPS navigation system for the Caribbean donkeys years ago, the truthful answer, Professor Hall, is Need for Speed for PlayStation developed by the Japanese. As a geographer, these are very interesting times. Technology is dissolving geographic borders at a pace never before seen in history. English is the #1 second language in the world, and the proliferation of technology and access to technology serve as conduits for the fusion of culture, music and entertainment, fashion, and lifestyles. Sure, there are drawbacks, not least of which is the linguistic deterioration of society with internet slangs and emojis. IDK, but before you guys ROFL, LOLing all over the place, I'll just STFU and move on. But we have to take the good with the bad, right? And I'm the bad right now, but excuse me. Integrating technology isn't just about using technology. It's about understanding how thoroughly our lives revolve around technology and appreciating this in a pragmatic and sensible manner. Last week, the Broadband Commission put out a report noting how mobile broadband is the fastest technology in history to hit 1 billion users worldwide. It also notes, however, that the Internet of Things will see 10 devices connected for every person that uses broadband. This, if we're not careful, could also lead to the creation of a new digital divide between the people who have just access to people who take advantage of this connectivity. The future of leadership goes beyond mere inclusion and the embracing of diversity. There is nothing wrong with individual cultural uniqueness, but a leader cannot block out the changing tides of time as the world becomes, as someone once said, more beige. Leadership will always be leadership. But the future of leadership is just a bit more complicated, and where old notions collide with new systems. Sometimes this means getting over yourself, throwing out those old notions. Rory last night mentioned that there is no box to think outside of, no boundaries to confine us which once confined others. There is a distinction in this new age between leadership and other attributes that people deem worthy of note and celebration. There have been many tests to quantify the difference between intelligence and creativity. MRI scans show different firing patterns of the brain activity in highly intelligent people and highly creative people. Intelligent people show very quick cognitive processing of solutions, while creative people show slower processing while alternative pathways are explored. This is something those infamous Google interviews, they touch on and try to tease out of people, beyond just torturing you and seeing you squirm with these Jedi mind tricks and brain teasers that they like to play around with. But here's an actual question asked at Google. How would you weigh your head? How would you weigh your head? So answers have ranged from lying flat on the ground and putting your head on a scale. Some genius would have tried Archimedean water displacement calculations. But a more modern way could also use that same MRI machine I mentioned earlier. But who says the weight of your physical head is the answer? It's what's inside your head is the prize. And whoever can calculate this and value this, this is what they're after. If you know this, you're gold. Layer leadership on top of that stuff, you write your own ticket. Martin Luther King said in 1967, if we are to have peace on earth, our loyalties must become more ecumenical rather than sectional. Our loyalties must transcend our race, our tribe, our class, our nation. And this means we must develop a world perspective. This was in 1967. Dr. King was seriously ahead of his time. We have serious catching up to do. But without leaders and leadership, everything can quickly devolve into anarchy rather than some egalitarian utopia. Leaders rise above the fray, but never lose touch with it. My Eisenhower Fellowship last year was a very similar experience, I imagine, to the CCELD. You bring people from around the world to go roam all over another part of the world. My experiences were shared a bit earlier by Her Excellency, and the Eisenhower Fellowship is my lens on global leadership. The program has been going on for over 60 years with 1,400 active members now, 3 heads of state, several chief justices, 135 cabinet ministers, 266 CEOs of multinationals, and so on. Our chairman is General Colin Powell, and past chairmen have included Henry Kissinger and President George H.W. Bush. None of them royalty, but we did have a Saudi prince in our group, but that was different. We are, as you are, forever bound by our experiences on tour, with each other, and with our destinies. You guys are now part of a brotherhood, a sisterhood, a fellowship of leaders. You have a responsibility, you have a duty to effect change, to make a difference. And there's no turning back. It's too late for that. Don't go back to your countries the same as you left it. Good governance, ethical and moral leadership doesn't necessarily mean doing the popular thing. We know that. But if you already do these things, do them better, do them more, spread the word, work with each other. Lead from the front, lead from behind, lead arm in arm with each other. You're not going to change the world by yourself either. Don't forget your families. Don't forget your colleagues. Don't forget your friends. Don't forget those who mentored you. And don't forget those that you will mentor. 10 years ago, the Princess Royal told me to do great things. Your Highness, I've tried. I don't think I'm there yet, but I'm not done yet. And I have help. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lyew-Ayee.